All right, time to do my version of this document, of this assignment. And like the last my version video, we're going to be going in real time here. You're going to be seeing my creative process because I feel that does really help is for you to see another creative individual using the same program you are to see maybe their techniques and how they might do it. So let's get started. It's a 4-page document, so we're going to go ahead and hit create new. Let's go with standard. I like to just go by the letter right there. And let's see, it's a 4-pager. Columns, let's go 2 columns. I like the gutter, the margins, and everything like that. So we're going to go ahead and name it. Reggio Emilia is the place that I am going to create a document about. It's just a city in Italy that I lived in for a summer. So now we have our 4-page document created, except I made a mistake here. So let's go into the layouts. Let's go into margins and columns. Or my bad, we need to go into file. And then we need to go into document setup, and we need to turn off facing pages because I want it to be a 4-page like PDF-like document. And we are good to go in that aspect. Let's jump into the pages section here. And you see we have this double page master. We're going to delete that master page right there. That's fine. That was created because we had facing pages, so it was a master that basically has a master on the left and the right, so you can apply it to 2-page selections and format the left and the right page respectively. But we just want a singular master page here. And so this is looking good. Let's jump into the master page and let's begin creating some aspects here. So we are in the master page, yes. Let's go ahead and grab, not the entire document, let's grab a guide right here. And I kind of want my title to be somewhere around there. And let's see, I kind of want my text to end somewhere a little bit away from the margin on the bottom here. We have a good center column right there. Yeah, I think that's pretty good on the guides. That'll help us with every single one of our pages. And let's go ahead and add a page number into here. I'm just going to add a little text document to the top right. And instead of typing page, I'm just going to right-click and insert the special character. Insert the marker and current page number. Then we can go ahead and center this up nicely. I'm using the arrow keys here to get it kind of where I want. And let's click the W and see how that looks. Yeah, it looks fine right up there. I like that. And what I actually want to do is I want to separate the 2 columns visually instead of just in here. So I'm going to go to the middle of this. I'm going to use the line tool, and I'm going to create a line that goes top to bottom like so. And then now you'll see that we actually have a line that's going to separate the left and the right sides. And I may even create a line right up here on the top as well. We'll see how this looks. Let's go right here and bring it across. And you see it's already jumping to the margins, so it makes it look nice because I was still a little bit off there. And we need to click the W key to see this as well. And yeah, I'm liking the look of this. It's looking pretty organized. Let's jump into here and see how they look on every page. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. I like that. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and jump back into our master page. And what we need to do next is we need to create that text box that's going to be automatically linked. So I'm going to hold this. I'm going to go to the top left over here. I'm going to drag over, and then remember I'm going to hit the right arrow on our keyboard to create this linked text box. And it's going to create this beautiful text box that's going to go 1, 2, and now they're all linked right down the center. So now I can add text in, and it's going to go all the way throughout all the documents. And then let's go ahead, and I don't actually want to add a title that's going to go on every single one of the pages. So I'm just going to go into our master right here, or not our master, our actual document, and we're going to add in the title up there. So Reggio Emilia. Let's add like another word there. Let's go touring. Reggio Emilia. And then we're just going to bring this up. And actually, let's center this first like so. Put these buttons over there. And let's change this font till it looks like, I like that one right there. What is it? Algerian. Touring Reggio Emilia. Looking pretty good. And now we have those text documents that we can click on here and hit Control Shift and then click so we can actually access it. And let's go ahead and go File and Place. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into Unit 4. And remember, we have that lorem ipsum text right there. So we're going to place that in there. And then we're going to get text that's going to link throughout all of the documents like so. And it went ahead and it created a 5th document for us because the text is just a little bit too long. However, we can fix that. We can click on one of them, Control A, and that's going to select everything. And let's bring the size of this down. Actually, we should normalize the, let's go into basic paragraph here, because it wasn't that meant that some of the text was actually a different sort of version than the other text, so it was a different font or something like that. But let's just bring it down to maybe like 11. And that should reduce us only to page 4. Yeah, that's looking good. It's a little tinier, but that's okay. And now what I want to do in these is I actually want to, let's see, if I got W like this. Okay, I like that, I like that. Let's add some pictures in here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some rectangular frames here. And let's start it off with a picture. So let's draw one right here. And then I can actually click on this, make sure it's selected, and we can organize the layers as well. So let's go ahead and create ourselves a new layer and name this one pictures. And then the bottom one text. Alrighty, and then let's bring both of these down. And what do we have here? We have the rectangle. That's going to be our image. So we're going to drag that up into here. That'll allow us to select it. Let's go to text wrap, and let's create a text wrap where it just isn't going to go on the left or the right side of this. Let's bring it down just a touch. And actually, yeah, that's looking pretty good like so. And we're actually going to modify the text up here, as we're going to change it to actually something like, let's say, Reggio Emilia, Italy. And then let's click the Enter key once so that brings everything beneath here. I'm going to highlight that up a little bit, make this a little larger. And then maybe just make this text centered. So now we have sort of a little bit of a title going there. And let's continue to make sure that this is below the picture. And now let's click on this picture and let's actually place an image inside of it. So I'm going to go File, Place, and let's go into my version right here. And then I have a bunch of pictures. Let's start it off with this one. We'll go this one right here. We'll click Open, right click on it, go to Fitting, fit the content to the frame. And then now we can kind of manipulate the content so it isn't stretched like so. And now we have this nice little picture right here. And you can see that this text is actually a little bit high. So I'm going to actually give it a little bit of room here. I'm going to click Enter on this. But then I'm going to bring the image down just a touch. And you'll see it jumps back up on top of it like that. And now that looks a lot better. And we can actually make this look kind of neat if we draw a line under it. I like a lot of lines in my... because they're very simple, but they kind of like add a lot of neat elements to it. We'll drop that one down by 2, and let's make sure, yeah, the line is in the pictures as well. It's sort of an image that we want to manipulate as such. And we want it to be on top of the text. A lot of times I do spend it doing this, where I'm just moving it back and forth, trying to figure out the spacing of everything. Because I want this to be, I don't want it to just be slightly off. I want it to be perfect of how I had it in my mind. So that's good. Let's go ahead and add some padding on the text wrap here to the bottom. They are not linked, which is good. We just want a little extra padding here on the bottom. Yeah, maybe about that much to give it a little bit of room there. And maybe actually we want to bring this over 1 or 2 clicks. We're still inside our margins. We're right on the margin line, so perfect. And that is looking pretty good for our first picture. I'm going to add a second picture down here. So instead of creating a new one, I'm just going to actually hit Control-C-V and make sure that I'm back on the selection tool here. We're going to move this right to there. Let's add it maybe like right like so. And we kind of want it the same distance off the right here. The same distance from the center that we have this one. It just looks a little bit more symmetrical that way, which will make it overall look a little bit better. Yeah, I'm liking that, but we don't want this exact image here. We need to place a new image, so let's go File, Place. Let's go to Reggio Emilia. Let's go this one. And yeah, that's looking pretty good right there. So now we have like this first page, touring Reggio Emilia, a bunch of text about it, jumping into different pictures. And then maybe on the second page, let's do something very similar to that. Let's create ourselves a new title. So we can either create something like this. We could put in our own title up here. Or we could create a title that's like this, maybe right there. And we might, if we want to do that, There's a space up here that's sort of supposed to be for a title. So we might want to actually go in here and edit this and bring the text boxes up just a little bit, just to fit the spacing a little bit better. Or we can keep them like this. It's just I feel like there's some dead space up here now. Let's see. I'm going to stick with the original design, actually. We're going to go into Pages. We're going to go to Master. We're actually going to get Control-C on this to copy this element. And I'm thinking I want these in all of my elements. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my Master and re-add it into the Master, like so. And now I can go into right here, and you'll see that it's actually very close. And we're going to delete this one off. And now we have the title on all of our documents, which I think it looks a little bit better. We can go ahead and delete 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All of those were created when we first created our text there. So we're going to go ahead and right click, and then we're going to delete all of those, drag them all into the trash, so we just have our 4 pages. Let's actually add this title. Let's add a title like this right here as well. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to go over into, this is a paragraph. Yeah, let's go paragraph styles. And let's create a new one. And we're creating a new one on this style since I have it highlighted. Like so. And you see that it's going to redo the font right there. But let's edit basic paragraph and see if we can't make it justify to the center. Where would that be? In here. Indents and spacing. Alignment. Center just like so. But we do not want to apply that here. We just wanted that inside of our basic paragraph. Like that. Oh, my bad. See, even I make mistakes sometimes with even the simplest of things. I'm editing basic paragraph. That's what all of this is on. I need to be editing paragraph style. That's the one I want. So let's go ahead and type something out here. Let's type where to go. Like so. And now let's go ahead and click on this and then turn that one to paragraph style. And you'll see now they're exactly the same. And let's rename that one because I was having a problem there because I was not actually looking at this. So let's give it a name of titles. So there we go. We'll go like titles, like so. And now we can make these all sort of the same. You're going to have to do the line for each one of them, but you can click on the line right here, hit Control-C, Control-V to copy it, and then just move it with your arrow keys to right back under there. Give it the spacing that it needs. And there we go. So now we have these like 2 little titles, and they all sort of start with a picture, and I'm sort of liking that style, so I think I'm going to bring that throughout the document. We're going to just keep doing that where we create a title, and then beneath it, we're going to create, add a picture in there as well. So let's go into right here. Let's do just that. Let's open this up, and let's go where to eat. So that was what, where to go. Actually, let's give it a little bit more room because it's supposed to be like a section, so we don't want it to be too short. So right here, where to go. Give it that titles vibe, so it goes right in the center, just how we want it to go, except we want this one where to eat now. Where to eat. And then we're going to Control-C, Control-V to copy this, and then I'm going to click on it and drag it on down to right beneath the where to eat, like so. Looking good. Okay, now let's add in our picture beneath this, and let's make this a slightly different one. Let's add this. Let's add some text above it though. So it's still going to be the same sort of feel to it, but let's add some text. And actually, let's make it easier on ourselves. Let's Control-C, Control-V. Move this down. Move this right back into place. Like that. And with these lines, understand that you want to add these in at the very last bit, because if you saw that when I added these in earlier, if any of these lines up here change, this will move and this will also move. So you might actually want to create multiple text boxes for that. If you really want it to all stay in the same place, but we're kind of going a fast and dirty approach for this. So I'm just going to make sure I don't edit anything up here. But that, like I said, not a very scalable option there. So you might want to create your own text boxes that are sort of going to be like one here, and then it's going to be this own text box with a line under it, and then one down here, so that changes up here aren't going to affect down here. You can actually even link these two around so that the changes will work there, but then this will be independent. Just a thought for the future. If I was really, working on this document where, I was going to give it to someone or print it out for something official, I would definitely do that. Let's go with, this image right here. And let's drag it down into the scene a little bit. And you see that the dimensions are slightly off here, so we're going to actually it's going to be a slightly differently dimensioned object. And yeah, that looks good right there, where to eat. And so we have a few more pages to go. Let's say that this all goes in the next page, and then over into this next page right here. We're going to do the exact same thing. Let's see, what else would we... Places to see. They're all kind of getting pretty similar here. Places to see. And we're going to go to titles like that. Let's go ahead and copy this line right here. Bring it all the way down. I'm just going to use Shift and then... Well, okay, that doesn't work actually because you go past the pasteboard, but it was fun to see if it did. Drag it in right there. And let's add a picture over here to the right. And we're gonna make this our last picture so we can talk about a couple of other things. Again, let's make this easy on ourselves. Drag it into there. And then File, Place. And we're actually going to go with this tall one this time. But you see that we're actually going to need to bring this out and fit content to the frame. And then it needs to be just slightly inward using the Control key there. And we've actually displaced enough text now that we've created a 5-page document, but unless you want to delete a lot of text, that's perfectly fine to keep, to go larger than you planned. If you had, certain plans where you needed to stick with something, a certain dimensions, and maybe you would have to shrink the text down or you'd have to change the pictures around. But in this situation, 4 or 5 pages doesn't really matter. And so let's stick with this. We can continue this sort of pattern downward, but I don't want to bore you with just keeping that going over and over and over again. So this is kind of going to be where we stop on the whole adding pictures thing. But you see it's actually kind of coming out as a nice little document. And I'm going to try something right here. I might not like it, but let's see if I do. I'm going to add a border into our master and see if adding a border to everything looks good or not. So we're going to do that, and it's going to be a black border, just 1 pixel, just something really light. Let's see if that frames everything up nicely. Okay, I don't like how the text is this close to the edges. I think it definitely needs some padding on it, but I think I like the border. It's kind of making it look like a newspaper, periodical sort of thing, which is kind of what the last project ended up looking like, or the one that we created together. But let's see, let's add a little padding into our text. We can do that a couple of ways, but I'm just going to actually shrink this down a little bit on the sides here. Just bring it in a touch, and since this is in the master document, it's going to apply this to everything. And you can see that now the distances are the same, which is what we wanted. And let's bring this one a touch down too, because it's actually very close to that line, and we don't want that either. And let's make sure that those green lines come up to tell us that we are in sync with each other. Let's jump back into our first one here. And you notice something, and this is why I was talking about you want to do it in a way that is scalable, because you see that I made this tiny adjustment with the text to make it look good. So now the text looks great, but now we have all these lines everywhere that are displaced because they were added without actually having the text be a consideration. So now I have to go back and rearrange all these lines, and that's kind of where getting really creative in InDesign kind of comes into play. Is the better you are at the program, the more you're going to be able to look ahead and see these. Like, I saw this problem coming, and if I was designing it better, I would have, stopped the problem right when it started. But in this situation, since we're going pretty fast, I didn't want to go through that sort of tedious process to create that. But now you'll see that when I tried to make the edits, suddenly everything didn't work out like the way I wanted it to, and we ended up having to go back and spend more time rearranging our document when we should be designing it so that we can make any edits and everything will stick just how it's supposed to. I don't like this text, just only little text down here, so I'm going to bring this image down a touch and make sure that it goes back up there. Then let's see. In all honesty, the where to go was under this picture. I mean, the picture was under it, right? So I need to switch that around again. Let's bring this back up. But it's kind of under our picture right there, so let's bring that up. And yeah, this is looking pretty good. overall, I'm happy with this. We've implemented a lot of different things that we learned in this lesson. And, at this point, you might be looking at it like, oh, this is pretty easy. And I really want you to be, saying that, because that means you've learned a lot. This isn't a complex document, but this might be something that, I would print out and give to people. If I was, for example, I could print this out and give it to family members if they wanted to know how my trip to Reggio Emilia was. And it looks really professional. It looks really well done. And I kind of like the style that comes out with it. It gets the information across. It adds some pictures in. People can read about the trip. But overall, this is sort of what I had in mind when I had this document. I'm really excited to see what you guys created, because this is, like I said, a little bit plain, a little bit periodical and boring, and there's a bunch of different ways you could do this. This is just the direction that I headed as I was creating it in real time. Maybe in a different one, I'd kind of create like a brochure pamphlet sort of thing. I don't know, but this is what I came up with. Yeah, like I said, I'm really excited to see what you guys came up with, and I will see you guys in the next unit.